What's up, guys? Let's talk about the mental game. This will be episode 2, and we're going to talk about keeping score. Okay, why do I recommend that you keep score? There's a couple of different reasons. Obviously, then you know what your score is. That's good. And I kind of have a video about this already, but I'm still going to push it into this series of mental game tips because I think it's one that I've noticed throughout the years for sure works for me. Obviously, if you keep score, you have an accurate representation of what your score was. You can keep track of all that sort of stuff. If you want to see if you can track your improvement, maybe pay attention to some of the holes that you struggle on and see if there's a different way that you can approach it. Man, every time I play this one hole, I get a 4 at least. And is there a different way I can go at it? Maybe I need to change my approach, that sort of thing. But the way it can help you in your actual play out on the course is to just write down your score and then completely ignore it. This is what I do out there a lot of the times. I'll finish the hole. Okay, I took a 3. I write down 3, and I move on to the next hole, and I don't think about what my score is. Because it doesn't matter what it is. It's all about that next shot. The next shot is what's most important. All I want to do is get to that next lie, to that next tee pad, and execute that shot the best that I can. I do not want to think about, now I'm 2 over, now I'm 3 over, now I'm 1 under, or any of that kind of stuff. It's just not helpful for me. The only time I want to know the score is if it's close and I'm competing in some way. If we're keeping score and I have a couple buddies and we're trying to win. Sometimes I want to know the score in order to kind of strategize towards the end of the round. Maybe there's a couple holes at the end of the round that I could go for if I need to, but I could play smart on if I don't need to, that sort of thing. So sometimes it's beneficial to know the score. And again, having it written down, you can see what your actual score is and not this kind of, oh, I'm just going to keep it in my head stuff, which is kind of flawed overall. It's very easy to forget a stroke here or there and have an inaccurate representation of what your score is. Also, when you're just playing against friends, it's real easy for them to kind of fudge the score as well. And I'm 2 under right now, and without any kind of written documentation of hole by hole scoring, it's difficult to keep track of all that kind of stuff. And maybe not even through any kind of malicious cheating attempt or whatever. They're just mistaken. If you have it written down, you don't have to worry about that. All the scores are tallied. You add them up, and they can't be wrong if you wrote them down correctly. So that's nice. But I don't want to know where I'm at unless I need to. Well, the other day we were at a course. We got to the final hole. I knew it was close, and I was like, all right, let's see where we're at here because I want to know if I need to throw this one and try to go for the ace. I want to know if I need to get a birdie here or if I can just kind of walk it in with a par. So we tallied up the scores. We figured out where we were. And a lot of times, it's funny, especially when you play people that are in and around your skill level, how close the margins really are. It's very often we will be within 1, maybe 2 throws. My whole card of 3, 4 guys, maybe we'll be pretty close. We'll be tied, one or 2 strokes different between us. And so sometimes you need to know that, but the rest of the time, I just want to write it down and move on to the next shot. That next shot is what's the most important thing. You don't want to think about where you're at in terms of under or over par or any of that kind of stuff when you're trying to execute shots, especially in the middle of the round. I just want to get to my next lie and execute that shot as a standalone thing. That shot, your next shot is always what's the most important. You can't focus on the shot before. You just got to be in the moment with that and try to execute every single shot as though it was its own game. It's that one throw. It's the whole game. And then the next throw is the whole game. That's kind of the way I approach it overall. You know what I mean? It's just a kind of a mindset. I personally do not like to know what my score is. I find that I play better if I just write it down, move on, and don't really focus on where I am. I think that just makes it a lot easier for me to stay in the moment and execute those shots as they come. That's my advice for you guys. I'll check you later. Cheers.